Welcome, fellow confidence crusaders, neuro nerds, and success equalizers. This is your podcast, Real Confidence. I'm your host, Alyssa DeVere, and I'll be sharing a bit of basic brain science, some surprising social secrets, and a touch of tough love. Why? Because I believe confidence is everyone's fundamental right and choice. So let's get to it. I turned 60 this year. Surprise! Not really. And all our data, all our research at the Institute has always indicated since the get-go, 10 years now in the making, that the magic number of 60 is when we finally reach our confident best. And so it's a little bit easier now, not because I turned 60, but it's just easier now to have a sense of humor about a lot more things, to be honest, and also to give myself a little bit more grace. But for those of you who aren't quite there yet, I'm going to share with you some things that I've learned along the way that I think I know are some of the big confidence busters, things that we would consider human trappings, things that really get us into places that we don't feel confident. And by the time you're 60, I hope that you also look back and go, boy, so silly. But unfortunately, as silly as it seems now, I can tell you I've fallen into these traps and had some pretty significant wounds as a result. So the first one is comparaitis or comparisonitis. And what I mean by that is constantly looking at other people, other situations, and telling yourself that you suck. You know, that you're not as good as other people, or you're not as far along in whatever path that you should be. And, fear of missing out would fall into here. Perhaps even imposter syndrome would fall into this. But whether you're doing benchmarks or assessments and you're validating that you are not where you want to be, it's kind of easy to fall into this trap, right? I still get the alumni magazines from my college, and I don't read them because I would realize that I would be flipping to the back to read about the class updates and feeling like a pile of poop afterwards. I'm like, boy, look at all these things these people are doing. Now, granted, the people that are writing in are the ones that have something to say like that, and the people who don't write in are probably either too busy living their lives and doing great things or not doing anything at all. But needless to say, it's a very small slice of people who are accomplishing things that are feeling like they want to trumpet about it. Hello, social media, same thing, right? But it's easy to fall into that trap of, oh boy, I don't have anything to report. I suck. You know, this whole thing about getting likes and shares and followers, it's the same thing every day. I say to myself, I don't have enough of this, I don't have enough of those. And then I remember, wait a minute, I have a lot. I think I have a lot, but it doesn't really matter. And the people who have more, how do I know that they're not getting robotic, results? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not real people that are following them. Maybe there's not real people following me for all I know. So, having that dose of hello, does it really matter? And hello, maybe the comparison's not very accurate. But again, being 60 helps to look in the rearview mirror and be like, so silly. I was so silly. But it happened a lot. It still happens. I think sometimes even we compare ourselves to people that are just in such different situations than we are. Maybe they grew up in a whole different environment, had a whole different set of support, financial support, emotional support, whatever it might be. Maybe we are in a situation that is unfortunate, but out of our control. Somebody that we love died, or we have an illness, or we're subject to some kind of a situation, a job or otherwise that just is not ideal, right? And yet we compare ourselves on some level in some ways to other people who don't have those situations. So comparisonitis, that is the first human trap. The second one is patience. And I laugh because how many times have people told me I have no patience, right? Patience, patience, patience. You have no patience, and it's a virtue. Well, yes and no. If you have too much patience, it means that you're almost passive, right? That you are complacent, that you don't have as much interest and urgency. But if you don't have enough patience, right, it can make life a little tough. It can make it very frustrating. You know, I want to see things change. I want to get things growing. I want to progress things. And it's almost interesting to watch people too, right? Like they send you an email or a text and they get mad if you don't respond quickly because, you know, they're not doing anything, which therefore means you should be responding quickly. But it doesn't work that way, right? You send something to somebody and they don't answer right away. It doesn't mean they don't like you. Maybe they're in the shower or they're doing something. They don't have their phone near them. I mean, I have friends who must shower with their phone because they're like, you know, responding 24 by 7. You know, I deliberately go in my pool and float because I don't take my phone there. And when I'm floating, don't expect an answer back. You know, I turn my phone off at night. I have it on Do Not Disturb during the day because I'm working, because I want to focus, because I don't want that constant interruption. But my friends know that. At the same time, I know that some of them get frustrated when I'm not immediately triggering back an answer to things. I do my best when I can. And there's times where I get frustrated when they don't respond to me quickly, right? I mean, that's human nature. But the patience thing, can't say I necessarily got better at it, but I have a better appreciation. You know, Malcolm Gladwell and his famous "It takes 10,000 hours to master something." You know, I remind myself that not everything comes immediately, whether it's a good effort or not. You know, sometimes there's things that you got to learn over time that you just accumulate as part of your knowledge base. You start to learn about yourself and about people and about systems and things that takes time. You know, we're so used to now pushing a button and having something show up at our door within 24 hours that we expect the rest of the world to operate like that, and it doesn't. You know, things don't ripen just because you want them to. There are things in my life that sometimes it surprises me how long it took me to figure out, right? How about a wardrobe? Like, think about things in your closet, in your drawers that only after time you realize how much you don't like wearing them, or they don't look good on you, or they're not comfortable, or you figured out exactly the right colors, the right shape and styles that you can walk into a store now and look on the shelf and be like, that's not going to look good on me. But that's not something, again, that happens overnight. And you say to yourself, it's not rocket science. No, it's not. It's just takes time. How many times have you looked in a photo from, you know, maybe 10, 20 years ago and you're like, boy, my haircut, bad, 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 right? My style or my makeup or something that you look at and you go, boy, I'm so glad I look better now because it takes time to figure all that out. How about social skills? The ability to interact with other people, the ability to go up to a stranger and have a conversation. I don't think everybody does it as comfortably as I do, but I'm certainly more comfortable now than I was when I was young. Thank you, Dad. That was a skill he taught me. So, patience, it's this thing that is easy to say, it's not so easy to do, but giving yourself some grace, reminding yourself that things aren't as instantaneous as Amazon in the real world. And that's just the way it is. Like some days I say to myself, you know, I've got a spoon and I'm trying to move mountains with whether it's with my business or a personal thing. I've got a spoon and I'm trying to move a mountain, but if I did good deep spoonfuls today, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I moved at least a little bit of the mountain because that's what I got. I got a spoon. I don't have a tow truck. I don't have a big shovel. I have a spoon. That's what I got. But I'm doing the best I can. So, again, something maybe of wisdom over the 60 years that I finally got to a place where I can accept that. All right, so that's number two. So, comparisonitis. I have to say that slowly so it comes out right. Patience. And what's the third? The third human trapping is we're really good at avoiding stuff and avoiding not necessarily in a good way, but avoiding things because we don't want to deal with them. Because something's not easy, because it isn't going to come quick, because we're afraid that we're going to need more patience and that we're going to come up short and compare ourselves to people who've accomplished whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, that we'll avoid even trying. We'll avoid even tasting. We'll avoid doing on a to-do list. We knock off the easy things because at least we'll feel like we got something done that we took a couple spoonfuls out of the mountain, so to speak. But reality is there's some big projects on there. We don't even want to deal with it because we don't have the patience or the energy to do it. We're great at avoiding things. We're great at avoiding difficult people, trying to kind of dodge not just them, but dodge conversations around them rather than trying to deal with it. We avoid things that are physically, psychologically, medically uncomfortable. We avoid having difficult discussions, difficult realizations, difficult things may even be don't want to know about ourselves. We don't want to be aware, self-aware because we know we're going to find things that are not perfect. So this habit or this tendency to avoid things, that is the third trapping. Now, and I say trapping is because all three of these things do something to our confidence specifically, which is it chisels away at it. Sometimes it might just pull the legs out from under it. And yet, we're human, and these are like three things that all humans do that unfortunately don't really support strong, healthy, sustainable confidence. So let's take a little break, come back. Let's talk about how we can do a little bit better, shall we? Want to level up your confidence, your career, maybe even your coaching? Well, then head over to AmericanConfidenceInstitute.com. E-classes are there as well as our coaching certification program, and you don't need any coaching experience to do it. However, if you are an experienced coach, you can get ICF and SHRM continuing credit. It's fast and easy. If you work in an organization, consider bringing in a kick-ass keynote or a uniquely engaging workshop. We also have team learning programs, and they all apply to both your personal and professional life, which makes them really special. They're great for ERGs, the leaders, the member programming, or really any type of professional learning and development in your organization. So give us a holler at www.americanconfidenceinstitute.com. All right, so I laid out three human trappings, and I'm going to claim that they're some of the biggest ones that really do a number on our confidence: comparisonitis, patience or lack thereof, and avoidance. So first and foremost, just talking about them, just thinking about them with me here, I'm hoping that that's a step in the right direction, because when we're at least aware that we do these things, my hope is that we can kind of stop ourselves in the track. And the more we do that, the more we go, oh, we're doing that comparison thing again. We build a little neuroplasticity in our brains, a little new neural track, and we tell ourselves, knock it off. Don't do it. Don't do it. So what can we do when we find ourselves going, oh, I'm not as pretty, I'm not as skinny, I'm not as smart, I'm not as whatever as someone else? Just remind yourself, is it a fair comparison? Is it a data-backed judgment? Do you really know what that person looks like is going through? Or is it a photoshopped slice of the moment kind of thing in the back of the catalog, the back of the alumni newsletter magazine, or is it really a fair comparison? Can you get some feedback from other people? What do you think about this? Do I look as good as this person? Or she is really as smart as she thinks she is, or seems to be, promotes she is? And maybe more importantly, does it really matter? Does it really matter that I'm not as good as she is, or as well traveled, or rich, or whatever it might be? Does it really matter? Do I have enough? Am I good enough? Do I feel my life is full and happy? And does it matter that I'm not that person, that other person? Because 9 out of 10 times, probably 9.9 out of 10 times, the answer is, why do I want to be like that person? I like who I am. And again, maybe that's because turning 60 has given me that wisdom to know I'm pretty okay the way I am. In fact, I'm not pretty okay, I'm really okay. So, so interesting. Get some feedback. As far as patience, how to have more patience. I probably am not the expert in that, but I have gotten much better at celebrating those small wins, those spoonfuls, as I mentioned, small wins, because it's so easy when we go, well, I haven't gotten this big thing done. And so, until I get it done, I'm not going to celebrate anything. Well, what about celebrating the fact that today I got up early? I'm sitting here doing podcasts, which I've been wanting to do for a couple weeks. And, those are small things in the context of the overall lifestyle, but you know what? Those are good things. Let's mark those off as small wins. Yahoo! Maybe another small win could be like I spent an extra 5 minutes giving the dog a belly rub. That's a small win, right? Something that you did with intention that had benefit to yourself, to the world. Celebrate it. Tell yourself that not everything has to be a huge thing. And at the same time, those huge things, small spoonfuls make a difference. Having some patience that it's going to take some more time to get them done, and that's okay as long as it's moving in the right direction. Putting it in your calendar to take another spoonful tomorrow, and then getting that done and celebrating that win. Those are good things. Avoidance. It's really easy, right? I'll get to it tomorrow. I just said put in your calendar for tomorrow, but as long as you're putting in a small chunk of something, just a little bite of it, I'm going to do a little bit more of it. That can really make a big difference in your confidence. It really can. So rather than avoid something that you're like, "Ugh," maybe break it into smaller bits, take a bite, swallow, move forward to the next one the next day or the next week. Doesn't necessarily make it easier, but it definitely gives you that sense of accomplishment and confidence that you're making progress. So I'm going to also give you the ability to really look at something that feels yucky. Maybe it's you have to call somebody that you don't want to talk to, or you have to deal with something that you just know is going to be a nuisance. And again, say to yourself, first, if I deal with this, will I feel good about it? And if the answer is yes, then deal with it. But the other thing is, if you're saying to yourself, if I deal with this, it's really not going to make a difference, then let it go. Let it go. Don't bother with it, right? I mean, just because it's on your to-do list, just because you think you should deal with it, doesn't mean that you have to deal with it. And be okay with that. Be okay with being like, you know what? I'm just not going to bother with that. I'm just not going to bother with it. Now, I will be stereotypical here because women, more than often, will bother with things because they feel like they should. I really should do this. I really should bake this set of cookies and bring it to the bake sale. I really should go check on mom. I really should do this, whatever it might be. And men, not so much. Now, again, I'm stereotyping. There are vast numbers of exceptions, but I will say that oftentimes I find myself in the should bucket. And when I step back and I say, what would my husband do? He'd be like, forget about it. right? So sometimes avoidance is a way for our brains to say, you know what, we don't want to do it. We don't need to do it. We don't want to do it. And it's okay. We're just going to ignore it. So there you have it, my friends. I hope that those traps are now not just known, but you can kind of manage them, deal with them, and yeah, even avoid some of them. All right, that's what I got for you today. Thanks again for tuning in. Before we totally wrap up, I want to let you know that full transcripts and show notes for this and other Real Confidence episodes can be found on www.americanconfidenceinstitute.com/podcast. I also want to remind you once again that the best way to get confidence is to give it to others, and you can do it just by liking and sharing this episode on your preferred podcast and social media channels. You can even give me some confidence by noting topics you'd like me to consider for the future. So for now, this is Alyssa DeVere. Thank you for helping to bring more confidence to the world. Master editing done by Ben Weinstein with original music performed and composed by Jeff Mitchell. Real Confidence is a production of American Confidence Institute. All rights reserved.